Jesus come. Let today be the day. He'll come for the weak and the strong just the same, and all will believe in the power of his name. One day he'll come and we'll stand face to face. Come and lay it all down, 'cause it might be today. The time is right now. There's no your past will be washed by rivers of grace. Come, Jesus, come. We've been waiting so long for the day you return to heal every hurt and right every wrong.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Bell's Video and Audio Service Podcast. Tonight, I have a special guest, a friend of mine that will be very beneficial to anyone that is listening, and especially the one that is planning on running to be a part of city government. But before I start this podcast tonight, I want to give my guest the time to give us a bio, to introduce himself in his own way. Mr. Greg Cochran, it's in your hand.
Thank you so much, MacArthur Bell. It's an honor to be with you this evening and with your audience to talk about the Alabama League of Municipalities. I began my career with the League of Municipalities 29 years ago as the Director of Governmental Affairs. 5 years ago, after the retirement of our executive director, I was asked to step up into that role and have served as the executive director for the past 5 years. And so proud to be representing municipal governments across our state. We have 465 municipalities, cities and towns across Alabama, that each and every one of them are unique in their own ways and their makeup. And so just proud to be here, be proud to talk about what is going on with municipalities in the Alabama League of Municipalities.
Amen. Thank you so much, Greg, for
Thank you.
Introduction. And when I'm going to go right into the podcast, but I want to kind of share with the audience that we know there are different cities, different classes of cities, but kind of share with us a little bit what cities that elections are going on, the majority of the cities that we serve.
Absolutely. As we discussed, we have 465 municipalities across Alabama, and they range in population from about 56 citizens up to 150,000 citizens. And of those communities, there are 90% of them having elections in August. And you may realize this, your audience may be aware, but we passed legislation right after COVID that added an extra year to this election cycle so that we could get off the elections that were being held nationally. That was causing a lot of confusion among voters of where they would go, which precincts to vote for their national elections and their city council members, because those don't line up all the time to be the same place. We were also putting great strain on the volunteers and the folks that work within the election process. So we went to the legislature and asked if we could have an additional year. And so moving forward, all these cycles will be 4-year cycles again. But this is just a very unique time in Alabama's history.
Amen. Greg, kind of share with the audience tonight is what is the job of a city council?
Well, the biggest job is to ensure that the city's finances are in good shape. You're the stewards, whether you're the mayor or the council, you're the stewards of the city's resources. The citizens elect you to be that steward and to trust in you to make sure that you're using the resources in the proper way, that you're growing the community in the way that the majority of the citizens want it to grow. And so I would say the first and foremost thing is to work with your citizens, your constituency, work with the mayor, your counterparts on the council to ensure that you have a clear understanding of how you want your community to grow and how you want those resources to be used. Communication skills, as you've shown throughout your tenure, are utmost important, whether you're a council member or a mayor. And transparency, being accountable and transparent with those resources so that your citizens aren't having to sit back and wonder what's going on at our city hall, what kind of decisions are they making. Be transparent in how you're using those resources and communicating with your citizens. And I think that keeps everyone on the same playbook.
Amen. Greg, let's kind of go into the importance of a trained elected official.
Absolutely. And MacArthur Bell, we've seen it more during this past 5 years. The impact of COVID kept a lot of people from attending conferences and training opportunities. We've seen more headlines over these last 3 years of cities where there's infighting. There's fighting among the council and the mayor over how to utilize resources, the transparency of those resources, accountability of those finances and other resources. So we felt it was important to get everyone that initial training. What is your duty as a council member? What are the duties of a mayor? Because many of these people run for office just out of the heart for their community. But there's no training there available unless they go through the League of Municipalities. And we just saw that there was a large group of people not attending these training sessions that we put on throughout the year. So we went to the legislature, first went to our board and said, here's some observation that we've made. How can we help our cities be their best self? And we all came in agreement of creating some mandatory training. And so moving forward, each municipal official will have to acquire 10 hours of training through the League of Municipalities or through our partnership with the 2-year college system. And I'll talk more about that later. So let me state this first. But we thought it was very important to get the fundamental trainings, as you pointed out, to ensure that each elected official was able to uphold their responsibility of being their best self.
And one reason why I want you to talk about that, Greg, is because sometimes they get crossed up with the executive part and the legislative part of city government. There is a difference. In my role, I was more than the legislative part, more not in the executive part. And once we keep that separate and know our role, we can work together and accomplish things together. But when I cross over in the executive, when I suppose in the legislative, sometimes that causes problems.
Well, that's exactly right, MacArthur Bell, one of the things that you've just pointed out are so important for folks to remember is it's a little different, but not much than the governor and the legislature. You each have your separate roles but you're tasked to work together for the betterment of the community, for the growth of the community. And when that relationship falls apart, whether it's the mayor wanting additional authority or the council wanting to overtake authority that the mayor has, it really destroys the momentum and the ability of that community to thrive and to be vibrant and to be its best self. So we feel we have a responsibility not only to our members, but to the citizens who've chosen to live in a municipality. So as I go back in history and look, the counties are set up by the Constitution and by law, but people choose to live in municipalities, and they chose that municipality, that particular one, because of the quality of life. And we want to ensure that trust is not broken on providing that quality of life that they're seeking.
Amen. Thank you so much. Greg, as an elected official, sometimes we, without the right training, we, out of ignorance, I would say, don't know our job, then we might get in trouble because we are not trained. Such as, I might misuse my position by getting stuff done for me that is against the law. And I'm doing it sometimes out of ignorance, and then sometimes we'll do it because we think we can do what we want to do because we're elected officials. Where do that stand at if we get caught doing that, Greg?
Well, MacArthur Bell, you bring up a great point. Our former executive director, Perry Rockmore, used to say one of the most enlightening workshops that we would put on is our orientation of new elected officials. And they would come in and they would go through that orientation because we teach through the ethics law and other what you can do and cannot do as an elected official. And they were amazed at some of the things. They're like, well, if I'd known that, I would not have run for office. Or I thought I could do this if I were elected to office, and to find out that they couldn't. And that's where the Ethics Commission and the Attorney General of the state of Alabama, your local district attorneys and local law enforcement come in and they try to rectify that, and nobody wants that. That's not good for our citizens, our community, or the elected official. And as you pointed out, most times these things happen out of not understanding what the limitations of that position is. But there are strict limitations on what municipalities can and cannot do, especially when it comes to personal property, private property, and impacting those. You have to be very careful. And that's why it's so important to have a good local attorney that you can trust to be there at those council meetings, to be there in confidence to talk to and talk through, that also is enjoined with our Alabama League of Municipalities through our Alabama Municipal Officials Association, because they understand the uniqueness of municipal law.
Amen. Greg, if I would have if I was a council person and I want to get a city employee to do something for me, personally do something for me, and I'm using my position to get it done, would I be in violation of the law?
I would certainly advise anyone who is in that position to talk to the local attorney, to their city attorney, because that certainly is a line you don't want to cross. Again, as we talked about, that is a line that a lot of officials believe when they come into office that they're able to have a wide scope of use of resources, personnel, and other things. And when you start putting them to use on personal use or private sector use, that's a line that you can cross real fast and you don't want to be there. So I would advise anyone, whether you're the city official or the employee, to seek counsel to make sure that you're not getting in trouble with the ethics law that are in place today.
Let us talk about some finance of the city, which is the council, along with, because the mayor is a part of the council, especially in population like 5,000, 6,000, they are part of the council. So could the mayor spend the money of the city without the approval of the council?
Typically, whether you're in a council mayor form of government, or like you said, a smaller one where the mayor is part of the council has the duty to approve the budget. And they may approve a budget that's within departments. They may say, Mayor, within the Department of Public Safety, we're going to allot X amount of dollars in Parks and Rec, X amount of dollars in water and sewer infrastructure, X amount of dollars, and then leave it to the mayor to administer those funds the way the mayor and the city feel is best. Again, we think transparency is the golden rule, that the mayor should be sharing with the council regularly how those funds are being utilized. But we do have some councils that get very much into what I would call the weeds or details. And when they pass a budget, it's a much more line item. And the police chief makes X, the law enforcement makes X, and they really get into those details. And that sometimes depends on, to me, the personalities that you're dealing with between the council and the mayor, and the trust, accountability, and transparency that we talked about. Because if everyone is communicating and there's a trust level there and a transparency and accountability, I think people are more comfortable. But at the end of the day, the council is just as accountable to the budget and how the money is spent as the mayor.
Let us get into the property of the city, such as police cars, buildings, etc., etc. Who is the responsible for the property of the city?
Well, again, I go back to, I tell our council, and as you know, I'm not an attorney. I've always been in the lobbying legislative side, and we have 4 attorneys that work for us at the league to answer the very legal questions. But let's say hypothetically, again, I feel like it's the responsibility of both bodies for the council to appropriate the funds. Let's say that the city wanted to buy police cars, 1, 3, or 5 of them. The council would appropriate the revenue to do that, the budget, and then the mayor would go through and get the transaction to ensure that it's done in a way that the council sees appealing. Now, again, in some cases, we've had councils kind of go into the great detail and want to know what type of equipment is on the car, who's the dealership that's providing them, and all those things. Other councils trust their mayor that just say, here's the budget, we're approving it for these transactions, you go make it happen.
Amen. Greg, I so appreciate you come on tonight. I got about one more question to ask you.
Sure.
And then if you have something that I want you to share with all, please share it to benefit them. Do the police chief of any city have the right to just go out on his own without the approval of the council or the mayor and buy things?
That is a good question that I don't have an answer to, MacArthur Bell, but I'm promise you I'll have you an answer tomorrow.
Okay.
My layman's understanding is that if the council has appropriated funds for law enforcement, the mayor has a good relationship with the police chief and says, here's your budget, chief, and doesn't get into the details, well, then the chief, as the administrator of that department, may or may not have the authority to go buy equipment or spend funds in a certain way. Again, I would say err on the side of transparency and accountability. I would tell the chief, make sure those receipts are turned in back to the mayor, back to the council, so that everyone sees, if asked this question, how those funds were by the city, which are taxpaying dollars, how those taxpaying dollars have been spent by the chief, ultimately by the mayor and the council. And that would go for any department, in my opinion, MacArthur Bell. If you're going to give your Parks and Rec department director that authority to spend funds within the budget because you trust him and you know he'll be transparent or she'll be transparent, then I say, maybe that's okay. But we're going to find out tomorrow, because that'll be one of the first questions I ask Rob Johnston in our legal department to make sure, because I never want to give someone the wrong information. But I just think in layman's terms that as long as everyone's communicating those things, that it can work out. But at the end of the day, the council and the mayor are responsible for every dime that comes into your community's coffers. because that's why they were elected.
Correct. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Giving out money to different organizations, such as the Rotary Club, Pilot Club, etc., etc. Is that lawful to do that? It's benefiting the city, but is it lawful that a city can do that?
Well, you have to show a public use for the
Okay.
funds that go out. I have a little knowledge in this area because I've asked that question many times as officials have come to me through the years and said, may I partner with the Chamber of Commerce? May I partner with the Rotary Club? And what we've advised them is to show, if you're going to give them $1,000 or $10,000, show how that benefits your community. Show what service they're providing to your citizenry, that is a justifiable expense. I don't think personally that you can just write a check to the Rotary Club as a donation and say, hey, I did my due diligence. I think you have to show that the Rotary Club was doing a food program, an education program, maybe a summer jobs program, something there that was benefiting your community in a way that a lot of chambers, as you know, commerce have economic development departments. And so the cities will contract with the chambers of commerce to help promote their economic development and community development programs.
As a past council person, we did contract with the Chambers of Commerce when I was elected.
Mhm.
And let me ask one more question, then I want
Sure.
to move on. Is that now I'm going to contribute to the Chambers of Commerce because I know what the Chambers of Commerce do. But there is another organization out there that is doing good thing for the whole city. There is a 501c3, but I refuse to contribute to that organization. It's not because of lack of fun, but I just kind of overlooked that organization and picked the other one. How do I stand doing that?
Well, I think again, that's a good question to go back and ask your city attorney or to call our legal department at the league and talk through it in detail to see is that a service that should be bid out in through the bid law, is since there's more than one entity providing the same service. What is my obligation there as a council and a mayor to ensure that we're putting the money in the best place to represent our citizens' needs. But again, we can ask that question of Rob tomorrow and make sure we're getting the right answer for your audience. But again, I think that me, if I were a mayor or a council member, I would just want to make sure that we're utilizing these services in a way that we can justify it back so that we're not having the ethics commission come knock on our door or the AG knock on our door saying, we want you to refund these dollars that you spent with A when there were B, C, and D out here doing the same thing that could have done it in a much more effective way.
Amen. Dealing with the ethics commission, and I hope they listen. You don't want to deal with the ethics commission if you can stay away from it.
No, sir, you don't.
Stay away from
Greg Albritton, Tom Albritton does a great job over there with the Ethics Commission, and they have a big task. Again, when you're looking at 465 municipalities, 67 counties, the Alabama legislature, all the cabinet positions and constitutional officers. And as you know, they amended the ethics bill about 10 years ago that also expanded to immediate family members of those elected officials. So it's not just the elected official himself, it's the spouse, it's the children, maybe the parents that are in that inner circle of that family that fall under the guidelines of the ethics laws. And you want to make sure that you're not violating any of those, because even if you don't mean to, it could ruin your day. And we don't want that happening to anyone.
Amen. We definitely want that, Greg, because I have been in the past. It wasn't for me, but I was part of the council that going through court and stuff like that. It's no fun in doing that.
It's not. It's not fun to sit there with gentlemen with badges on across the table, having to justify every detail of your day in public office.
Amen. Greg, I'm not gonna hold y'all tonight. I appreciate you coming on tonight on this podcast. It has been very helpful to the audience that a lot of them gonna be running, I know, in August to try to get elected in this city. And I hope they are watching because I want to help educate them the best I can. The little knowledge I know, I want to pass it on to another person that they can do great things for our city.
Well, MacArthur Bell, you were a great friend. You've been a great friend. You were an active member of the Alabama League Municipalities. You represented your city with grace and with pride. And I really missed the day that you walked away from public office because we enjoyed you being a part of our board of directors. And I only wish the best for you. And I hope that the citizens that were watching this podcast tonight will get a better understanding that at the Alabama League of Municipalities, we're there to help you. When you become an elected official at the municipal level, we're there to help you. We want you to be your best self. And we want you to represent your cities to their best selves. And we have put a lot of programs in place at the league to help our communities be their best selves. It's important to us to see vibrant communities across Alabama, and we have worked hard to make sure that we're getting those resources throughout our state. And I appreciate this opportunity to meet with you and to talk about these issues with your viewers tonight.
And thank you so much, Greg. If you have any more last words you want to say, we're going to close out. I'm not going to keep you all night because like I said, I appreciate you giving me this time because I know you're a busy individual and you're getting ready to do a convention real soon. And lots goes into a convention.
Yes, sir. We're excited. We'll have about 1,200 individuals attend our convention in Huntsville next week. It'll be a celebration of our 90th year as the Alabama League of Municipalities. And during those 90 years, we've had only 5 executive directors. And I think that says a lot about the organization being a stable force and conduit for our municipal officials. And we hope today that we're more impactful than we were the year we were formed. That's certainly our goal, and we work hard for it. We have a dedicated staff that wants to help our citizens. We have 4 attorneys that can answer legal questions. We have a training department that's unbelievable. And I told you I'd circle back around to it if you have a minute. We have partnered with the 2-year college system, MacArthur, to put on our training for us. So any official that doesn't have the time to come to a physical workshop or the convention or other meetings that we have throughout the year, they can go online to ACCS, which is the Alabama Community College Systems, and register as a municipal official and take our training courses. And that is a huge opportunity for us, for any official that's available 24/7 online. And we've already had 3 or 4 of our officials that have gone up, and we have 10 classes on there right now. Everything from finance to ethics to the role of the council, the role of the mayor. And so they can go on and take these classes without waiting for us to perform them for you. So real excited about this opportunity. And then in closing, we hope that we're working with the 2-year college towards allowing this to be an interdisciplinary degree. So someone who goes through the full program would at the end of that 2 years be able to acquire education credits towards a 2-year college interdisciplinary degree. And that'll be the first in its nation. So I'm very proud of what our team has done to build this, and very blessed to be part of the 2-year college system to promote this for us and put it out there for all of our members to utilize.
And Greg, I want to thank you for a great job that you're doing at the Alabama League of Municipalities. You have worked wonderful. The time I was down there with you on the executive committee, you was a not only a wonderful friend, but you was a hard worker. But I thank you for doing what you're doing for the elected officials, and they should appreciate what's going on and utilize it.
I hope they will. Not only do we have the training program, we started the Economic Development Academy 3 years ago, and 45 communities have gone through that 1-year curriculum. Also, the Alabama Communities of Excellence, we adopted That program, and both of those are designed to help communities focus on their desires to grow, whether it be through recruitment of new economic investment or community development. Everyone looks different. And so we don't try to tell them how to do it, what they should look like. That has to come from the community. When I went through the Delta Leadership Institute program many years ago, the thing that I learned the most important was that growth and sustainability growth has to be inclusive, and it has to be from the city, the citizens themselves. You can't come into a city and say, hey, you're going to now look like Dothan. Well, you may not want to look like Dothan. You may want to look like Thomasville. Well, it's for you to decide what kind of city that you want to have. We're just there to help you identify the resources and the focus to be able to do that.
Amen. And Greg, I want to just mention this now, my time of serving the city government. When I first started taking the class, I got my basic, I went to my advanced, and I even got my emeritus.
Yes, sir, you did.
And I'm proud of that. And I want the rest of them to do the same thing to advance themselves in knowledge. And once you get the knowledge, you can do your constituent a great job. But without knowledge, sometimes it's hard to do a good job.
You're exactly right. And that's the way we felt about going to the legislature, asking them to approve a law that mandated the education responsibility onto our officials, was that this was just a needed step. If you're going to run for an office and ask for the trust of your citizens, then you should make it an example of being prepared. And by being prepared is getting the training that you need to be your best self.
Yes. And again, thank you, Greg.
Hey, thank you, my friend. It's so good to see you.
And I hope we can do this again in the near future.
I would love to come back on after the elections if you would like, and let's talk about the elections and talk about how, again, moving forward, we can help our communities all thrive and be vibrant.
I would love to do that, Greg.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you so much.